Day 32. You are acing this challenge in a rhythm, reading the Bible every day, feeding, sustaining, strengthening your spirit. Mark chapter 4. We're back in parable land. Jesus is telling parables. He's in what's known as the Sower's Cove. It's an area by the Sea of Galilee where thousands of people can gather in this cove, and someone can be on the shore at the bottom or pushed out on a boat a little bit as Jesus was this day, and everybody can hear without speech amplification, without microphones and speakers, what that individual is saying. And Jesus uses parables for a couple of reasons. Firstly, they're really just simple stories illustrating a simple point, but they're interesting, and we love word pictures. We are humans, we love stories, and Jesus uses these stories because they are easily remembered, which makes it easy for us to interpret and apply them in our lives, but also easily to carry that message, to tell others about the message of Christ and these parables. And so these parables were intended to be retold. In our interpretation, let's keep to the simplicity of parables. Here, right in this chapter, Jesus is asked a couple of times, and he even says that to the masses, he speaks in parables, but to the disciples in private, he explained. And his explanations every time were really simple. And so while there is depth to everything that Jesus said, let's not get so deep in the parable that we just miss the main simple point that Jesus wants us to get. For example, the parable of the sower. He's saying that for us to bear fruit, which we saw in the book of Matthew, is a really important part of our walk with Christ. We just have to hear and accept his word. He tells the parable of a seed which grows, and he says the farmer doesn't know how it works or why it works. He doesn't have to understand all the biology. He can just plant seeds and reap a harvest. And in the same way in the kingdom, we are not always going to understand everything, and we don't have to. Then Jesus is caught in the storm in a boat. He's asleep. His disciples, they're in panic mode, and they have this question, who then is this? When Jesus calms the sea, and they say, who is this? The wind and the waves obey him. And that is typical of Mark. Mark often would leave us with this exclamation, with this question, which forces us to answer that for ourselves. He doesn't give us the answer. He leaves the reader to determine who is this Jesus. Jesus, in the calming of the storm as well, he asks him, why are you afraid? Where is your faith? And here we see again, it's such an important point. The contrast, the opposite of fear is faith. Jesus would have us be people of faith, walking in the truth, walking in faith that he is able in all of our need.